which are very useful for that. This is a quick home remedy that works. This has been Self-Care Tips. I am Irene Joroge.
The next best Kenyan film.
He will not, and you know.
You will.
Where are you from?
Good evening, Mrs. Kentai.
You know me?
I think we should just do as we're told. You're hard work.
Who's been telling them about me?
We know everything.
They know everything.
Is this what I think it is?
Long time no see. You complained a lot about you. Said you let yourself grow fatter and you dress like a grandmother.
Dad had a gun in the safe the whole time.
Woman, is that you?
Okay, whose side are you on?
Finish your business.
My name is Mohamud Ahmed Mohamud, the CEO of Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation, popularly known as KDIC. The corporation recently increased the protected sum from the previous 100,000 shillings to 500,000 shillings per account. This is the highest in sub-Saharan Africa. In effect, the corporation now covers 99% of the depositors in the unlikely event of a closure of a bank. So KDIC encourages the depositors to continue doing business with our banks that are strong and resilient.
Be sure, check out for a KDIC sticker in your banking hall. KDIC, protecting your deposits.
Thank you for joining us. This is KBC Channel 1, and of course you are watching the Legends edition. My name is Catherine Kasavuli. It is a wonderful Saturday here in Nairobi. It's been raining the last couple of days, and of course this rain has caused a little havoc in some other places. Well, we'll be telling you more about River Nzu and what happened to it, what happened in that river in our bulletin. First, the highlights.
Daylight horror. Dozens plunge to their death in Amwingi River. Not giving up. A man is pulled out alive from a collapsed mine in Abimbo, Siaya County. And who to trust? Leaders in war of words over the 2022 presidential race.
Thank you for joining us. 23 people have died, while others were injured after a bus they were traveling in plunged into River Enzio as the driver of the bus attempted to cross a flooded section of the Ngunino Road in Mwingi, Kitui County. It was not clear how many people were on board the bus, which has a capacity of 51 passengers.
Saturday afternoon at River Enzio along the Ngunino Road in Mwingi area of Kitui County. This bus belonging to St. Joseph Seminary School is seen attempting to cross despite the raging flood waters. Moments later, he is overwhelmed by the flood water and is thrown off balance. Passengers are seen scrambling to get out of the bus through the windows, with scores still said to be trapped inside. It is an accident that has left over 21 people dead and 10 others admitted to hospital. The ill-fated bus is said to have been ferrying an unknown number of people to attend a wedding at New Catholic Church. Police say search and rescue efforts are still ongoing. A section of leaders from the region have sent their message of comfort to the families and friends of the deceased.
And I urge all drivers at this moment, wherever the river is covered by water, wherever a place is covered by water, even 1 inch of water is enough to get a bus going or a car or anything. Please, please, please do not play with water. Just wait until the water subsides. Hakuna haraka, hakuna mahali hiyo inchi inaenda, hakuna nyumba inahama, just wait.
Ningependa kuchukua nafasi hii kutoa peleka rambirambi zangu binafsi na rambirambi za viongozi wengine, Steve Kalonzo Musyoka na wengine, kwa sababu hii ajali imetokea bila kujulikana.
Nancy Okware, Legends Edition.
A very, very sad incident that was. We are joined in the studio by phone by Bonnie Kanyali, who is KBC correspondent in the area, and he will walk us through what is happening right now. He did mention that the Kenya Navy is on site trying to retrieve the bus from the swollen river. Bonnie, what is the situation on the ground right now?
The situation on the ground is still tense. With the residents are assembled watching officers from Kenya Navy and other officials and locals trying to remove the bus, which is still submerged inside the river.
Okay. Now, this is a 51-passenger bus. 23 bodies have been retrieved from the swollen river. 12 people have been rescued, but seriously injured. Yeah. Have we found any other bodies and or, injured persons from the bus?
Unfortunately, no. It's believed that the rest of the bodies are still inside the bus. And after retrieval of the buses, it's only when we can identify the actual number of the bodies which are trapped inside.
What is the response of the rescue apparatus, the rescue forces, the rescue teams?
I can see now they have tied the bus with a wire, a strong wire, and a fire engine and a tractor trying to track the bus to see whether it can come out.
Okay, so this is the Kenya Navy, you said?
Yeah, Kenya Navy and county officials with a fire engine.
Okay. What about other rescue operation teams that are present?
Red Cross are here. They are helping in the transportation of the bodies, although mostly they are using police vehicles to transport the bodies from here to Mwingi, therefore, for mortuary.
Have the governor and any of the members of parliament or senators, arrived at the scene of the incident?
Yeah, the governor was here and the senator is here alongside the area women rep, Irene Kasalu. They are giving the rescue officials moral support during this strong and the rescue efforts, I mean.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now just looking at that situation, is that the only access road to that area, or are there any other diversion, that people can use or be told to use instead of, being caught in a traffic snarl-up or, bottleneck?
Unfortunately, this is the only road. It is a drift linking Nguni and Nu. The rest of the roads are seasonal roads and they are not easily accessible, especially this time of rain.
What is the weather like right now? Is it still raining or has the rain subsided?
It's cloudy and the rain has subsided, but we fear that maybe the rains might come back, and if that happens, it might ruin the efforts.
Oh, thank you very much, Bonnie Kanyali. We pray that the rescue efforts will reap better fruits and we'll have more people pulled out alive. That was Bonnie Kanyali, our correspondent from Mwingi.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye. One man has been rescued from the collapsed mine in Abimbo village in Bondo, Siaya County. A body was also retrieved while from the rubble on Saturday morning. 8 miners were buried alive when the mine collapsed on Thursday afternoon.
Residents of Abimbo village in South Sakwa location, Bondo, continue to gather around the scene of the accident that has now been cordoned off by security officials. It is now the third day since rescue efforts for the Abimbo gold mine collapse victims kicked off. Saturday morning, rescuers managed to free one victim alive. One other victim did not make it out alive. 6 more victims are yet to be salvaged. At the scene, a team of rescuers led by Bondo Deputy County Commissioner Richard Karani is using a compressor machine to pump oxygen into the tunnel to keep the men alive.
Kule ndani kuna machine inapiga hewa kule ndani, compressor inapiga hewa kule ndani iweze kusaidia wale ambao tunatarajia kuwapata na wale ambao pia wanasaidia kuwatafuta. Bado tuko na matumaini ya kuwapata wakiwa hai na tunaendelea kuwatafuta, manake lazima mambo ifanywe polepole kwa sababu ya hali ilivyo pale chini.
Residents and families of the trapped miners are engulfed in sorrow, even as they keep hope alive that their kin will make it out of the 500 feet deep mine safe and sound.
Tunaendelea kushughulikia kuhamasisha wale ambao wanahusika katika sehemu hii kutumia wataalamu mbalimbali, wale ambao wanahusika na migodi geologists na wale ambao waneema na washirika mbalimbali kuhakikisha kwamba wale ambao wanafanya kazi kama hii pia wanatafuta license ili waweze kufanya kazi iliyo halali.
The disaster management team, comprised of sub-county security team, has pitched camp next to the collapsed mine, as several leaders, among them Siaya Senator James Orengo, visited the site to support the affected. The Abimbo gold mine collapsed on Thursday afternoon with 10 miners inside. 2 managed to crawl out with minor injuries the same evening. Kamche Menza for the Legends edition.
Thank you, Kamche, for that story. The One Kenya Alliance is tonight downplaying allegations of cracks within the coalition instead of accusing its political detractors of spreading untruths about the goings-on in the coalition. Musalia Mudavadi and his co-principal Kalonzo Musyoka say there is calm in the union and that the coalition's flag bearer will be revealed soon.
Musalia Mudavadi of Amani National Congress and Kalonzo Musyoka of Viper Party have hit out at those terming 2022 presidential contest as a two-horse race. The two leaders who joined worshippers at the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Nairobi East claim their rivals have sensed defeat.
Kile deadline ambayo tunachunga tu ni deadline ya IBC. Na sasa haya mengine, hiyo ni election fever ambayo inakumba watu.
One Kenya Alliance is a solid alliance, minus all the negative speculation, perhaps even manipulation. We are very solid, we know where we are going. So when my brother Musalia says he will make sure that there's money in the pockets of Kenyans, he knows what he's talking about. When we are saying we are going to work 24 hours and that we are going to have green gold economy, we know what you're talking about. When you are saying we are fighting corruption, we've dealt with it before, and we mean business.
The principals also called for adequate funding of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to enable it to deliver free and transparent elections.
We'll be going into an election. We want an institution that will give us a free and fair process so that stability is entrenched and it is not disruptive to anybody, because we want the church to grow. We want everybody to be happy.
The leaders also called for political tolerance and sustainable peace efforts before and after the forthcoming elections.
Honorable Stephen Kalonzo and I want to encourage Kenyans to work together, to be united, to make sure that we have a peaceful nation, to make sure we provide the right environment for our children to go to school without problems, for our hospitals to provide treatment for our people without difficulty, for neighbors to live together peacefully, and for people to earn their living without any obstruction. That is the Kenya we want. That is the Kenya I'm sure you want.
For Legends Edition, I'm Gladys Mungai.
Deputy President William Ruto is back in the Mount Kenya region to drum up support for his bottom-up economic model. The Deputy President, who toured Nyeri County on Saturday, maintained that he is most qualified candidate to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta when his term comes to an end in 2022.
Deputy President William Ruto has once again taken the bottom-up economic campaign to Nyeri County a week after ODM leader Raila Odinga toured the region. The DP endeared to the mountain, saying he is best suited to lead the country.
Tupange ajira ya hawa vijana kwanza na tupange biashara yenu kwanza. Munasema tuanze na chini hapa bottom, mahali watu jobless wako, tupange kazi yao kwanza hapa bottom, tupange biashara kwanza ya mama mboga hapa bottom, alafu twende up bottom, alafu up bottom up bottom up.
Leaders who had accompanied the DP said Kenyans need a leadership that listens to them.
Tuko na mbio ya kufukuza umaskini, tuko na mbio ya kufufua uchumi, tuko na mbio ya kufufua ukulima wetu, na tutakimbia na huyu muungwana. Sisi watu wa Mount Kenya tumesema ya kwamba William Ruto ni yeye anaweza angalia maslahi ya watu wa Mount Kenya. Tunataka kufufua uchumi wa taifa letu la Kenya.
The leaders accused the Ministry of Agriculture of misleading the president.
Fertilizer hili ambayo ilikuwa inatoka 2000 wakati wa huyu mugwana William Ruto akiwa Minister wa Agriculture. Sasa hiyo fertilizer inatoka 5,000. Bona zimeshuka na wakulima wanalia. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Rais, nikikuuliza uadhibu hao watu ambao walikwambia usome takwimu ambazo hazikuwa za ukweli.
The leaders urged Kenyans to vote for the deputy president in the year 2022 polls. For Legends Edition, I'm Ben Troy Njue.
National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi has accused Deputy President William Ruto of running a dishonest campaign. Muturi says the bottom-up economic model is an empty campaign gimmick. The had powers to influence allocation of resources to the small-scale traders and those in informal employment. While addressing the faithful at Living Waters Church Makutano, Muturi said the deputy president had the influential Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council, IBEC, which made decisions on how money for counties is allocated.
Kweli tuna haja ya kusaidia mwananchi wa kule chini. Huyo tunaita mama boga, huyo tunaita wheelbarrow, sijui maana kitu gani. The place to do that decision is at the IBEC. When you are chairing, when you are the one who is chairing that committee, that powerful committee, we should be making this decision for the last 9 years, and you have not done it. Unakuja kutuambia mambo mengine gani hapa? Surely, kwani Wakenya watu wameona kama tumepungukiwa na akili ama nini?
Well, we take a break, and when we come back, we will let you know more about the malaria vaccine. Stay with us.
Ili kupata sikiza tuni hii ya Romans chapter 8 verse 39, bonyeza star 811 star 965 hash.
No power in the sky above or in the earth below, indeed, nothing in all creation will ever be able to separate us from the love of God that is revealed in Jesus Christ our Lord. Romans chapter 8 verse 39.
Ili kupata sikiza tuni hii ya Romans chapter 8 verse 39, bonyeza star 811 star 965 hash.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email newsroom@kbc.co.ke, call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Welcome back. You're watching KBC Channel 1, the channel that gives you the most comprehensive news coverage in Kenya, and you are watching the Legends editions. My name is Kasavuli, and on to our news on the malaria vaccine. Scientists at the Kenya Medical Research Institute, KEMRI, Center for Global Health Research, are in a race to find out if malaria is a risk factor to persons suffering severe COVID-19 disease. In a twin study in Kenya and Burkina Faso, dubbed Malkov, scientists are seeking to establish the relationship between malaria and COVID-19. Mari Yambo spoke to Dr. Brian Tangara, the lead researcher for the Malkov study at KEMRI Center for Global Health Research in Kisumu County.
In the face of COVID-19, experts are seeking answers on whether malaria can complicate instances of COVID-19 infection. The Malkov study is being conducted in multiple sites in Kenya and Burkina Faso. In Kenya, the study is being conducted in high malaria burden regions of Kisumu, Siaya and Busia counties. Dr. Brian Tangara is one of the researchers.
We live in an area where malaria is endemic all throughout the year, and we've been trying to manage using several interventions to manage malaria, but they're now compounded to COVID-19 that caught the world off guard. So we went forward and we want to understand that is malaria a risk factor to COVID-19? You having malaria, does it increase the severity of COVID-19 or does it reduce the severity of COVID-19?
Malaria weakens the immune system and, if not managed, can have serious health implications. Nancy Olo, Director Nursing Services at the Kisumu County Referral Hospital, paints a picture of the devastating effects of malaria in this region, perhaps the reason doctors are not taking chances as to what the effects of the disease could be on COVID-19.
Used to have very many people coming in with severe cases of malaria. Some of them would even come in convulsing. Some of them would even come in with severe fever. You know, the body is just too hot. A lot of babies also used to come with severe anemia. In a whole pediatric ward, you would just see, you know, the nurses doing blood transfusion.
Kisumu at one point had a positivity rate of 28%. That means you're saying out of every 100 people, 28 people have COVID. If you're getting a region like that, it has high COVID positivity rate, and then you also have the same region having high malaria positivity rate, then you want to understand how the two interact.
Sampled from government facilities in Kenya and Burkina Faso, 708 participants, all with COVID-19, will be monitored for a period of 1 year. In the initial 2 weeks, the patients will be given a thermometer and oximeter to monitor their temperatures and oxygen saturation as COVID-19 tends to lower oxygen levels. Of the 708, some will be co-infected with malaria.
We also want to understand, you having the virus, if you have malaria, do you shed the virus more quickly or less? We're also interested in to understand that you having malaria, do you remain more infectious with COVID-19 or less?
While the observation group infected only with COVID-19 will receive the standard COVID-19 care, the ones with malaria will receive 2 different malarial drugs, artemether lumefantrine or Coartem and pyronaridine artesunate.
Pyronaridine artesunate, which is Pyromax, it's also a known antimalarial drug, and is actually shown in the lab that it has active antiviral towards SARS-CoV in vitro in the lab. Now we want to compare you taking those 2 antimalarial drugs. Do they have an effect on COVID-19 severity?
The results of the 18-month study are expected mid-next year and could lead to other effective programs to manage COVID-19 and malaria.
If we find that receiving this antimalarial is going to reduce COVID-19 severity, that's what we're saying, that possibly in the future you may only have to take one anti-malaria and you do malaria and also COVID.
And what will be the resultant impact?
It means that if we come to establish that there's even a slight change in the risk of COVID severity due to the infection of malaria, that will be a game changer for us to understand the impact of COVID-19 in our region. The other thing will mean if you find that you having malaria tend to have less severe COVID-19, then it means if we successfully control malaria, we can potentially control COVID-19.
The researchers will also be conducting genome sequencing to ascertain whether the recently identified Omicron or Delta variants are at play. And just like the malaria vaccine, the results of this study will be a game changer in this region and could inform global policies. Maria Ambo reporting for the Legends edition.
The next best Kenyan film.
He will not, and you know.
He will.
Where are you from?
Good evening, Mrs. Kentai.
You know me?
I think we should just do as we're told. You're hard worker.
Who's been telling them about me?
We know everything.
They know everything.
Is this what I think it is?
Long time no see. He complained a lot about you. Said you let yourself grow fatter and you dress like a grandmother.
Dad had a gun in the safe the whole time.
Woman, is that you?
Okay, whose side are you on?
Finish your business.
is not mine.
He has the strength of a god. I saw it with my own eyes.
He is not a god!
Samson, the Philistines are upon you.
My strength is now your strength. What would you have me do?
My name is Samson, and you will face the wrath of God.
And it's now time for the living legend, and we engage cricket legend Ken Obuya. He's on Living Legends with one of my colleagues.
Thank you very much, Catherine. And tonight on the Legends edition, we speak to a man who has played in 3 World Cups and has played at the Commonwealth Games. He has also played his cricket in South Africa, in England, and also Australia. We're talking a person who held the world record for the first weekend stand, together with Deepak Doc Chudasama, 225 runs against Bangladesh 24 years ago. We speak with Kennedy Otieno Obuya. Kennedy, welcome to the Legends edition.
Thank you very much.
And you know, for you, Kennedy, anytime the name Obuya is mentioned, it comes with cricket. But before you used the name Obuya, you used the name Kennedy Otieno. Where did the introduction of the Obuya name come from?
I think it's quite complicated. Initially, people used to call me It's very simple. We all Kenyans and we all Africans end up having 3 names. So my name is Kennedy Otieno Obuya. But when I entered the scene, people used my middle name, Otieno. But when my brothers joined in, the 3 brothers, so that's when the Obuya came in, and he used our surname, which is Obuya, which is my dad's name, which I'm very proud of.
Tell us about your early life and how you eventually got into cricket.
I think it's the neighborhood. I lived, we stayed at Aga Khan, which is just opposite Aga Khan Sports Club, and my dad was working at Aga Khan Hospital. So they're neighbors. Mm-hmm. And by then when we played, there were no boundaries, there were no fence. So you'd run across, play football when people were playing football, play cricket when people were playing cricket, and I played a little bit of hockey. But my first love was football. But because of the neighborhood that I was in, I ended up playing cricket. So cricket ended up to be one of my second sport beside football, because I ended up in school. I was a very good footballer, if I may not mention it. Uh-huh. Played very well with Kimanzi, I captained Kimanzi in primary school, captained Kimanzi in secondary school.
Which were the schools?
I went North Hyde Primary School and Don Bosco. And then Elkanah, we were also with him. Elkanah Swaka was one of the top strikers for Kenya. So I played very competitive cricket. But football.
Yes.
So what pushed me to cricket is basically the cricket decided now to pay school fees for me. So we were getting better and better when we started. So they decided that if you stop playing football and play cricket, we will pay your school fees. And that's what attracted myself and us as a family to join cricket.
So the cricket scholarship, how was it arrived at for the Obuya family and others around that time?
I think in that generation I had very Aga Khan Sports Club had very good generalization community. By then the Padamshis were very strong. The Nanjis, which are the electrical link, one of the biggest fan of mine. And it's a very small one. If I talk of the Nanjis, who are the owners of Prime Bank, it's ended up that I ended up to being the main coach on the school, that their sons ended up to be on that school. Mm-hmm. So that's how we ended up becoming jumping from football to cricket, and that's how I ended up being a cricketer.
So the cricket scene after high school, the cricket scene in Kenya was quite vibrant, especially around the Parklands and Gara area. We can think of Premier, Nairobi Gymkhana, Simba, Aga Khan. How competitive was it then, knowing that some of the people who are playing then, Steve Tikolo was ahead, Tom Tikolo was already there, Daniel McDonald, Suji. How was that team?
Oh, I think very, very, very competitive. And I don't know what to say, but the first thing that we all must understand, that by then, all these clubs, had no walls. You'd walk into a club, and a kid would be a kid, and we would play. And you would not tell between the very rich and the very poor. So we would just walk into a club, jump into a club, and when the kids were playing, we would all jump in. There's a new generation now which has come in. We didn't have any TV. TV was the only, KBC where we were sitting was the only, was the main thing, and it would start at 5. So during the day, we would all be at the club, and that's, I think, that happened to the guys who played in Park Road, and also happened to the guys who played at Gymkhana, and that's how we all came up very close to cricket, because it was the sport on that area.
In 1994, Kenya hosted the qualifiers for the Cricket World Cup that was to be co-hosted by India, Sri Lanka. Kenya played here, and Kenya did qualify for that World Cup. How was, at that point, you were knocking on the doors of the national team. How competitive was that side?
Oh, I think it was quite competitive, because I played, that was the first time we qualified, and that was the World Cup that we went to India. It was the first time Kenya qualified, so we were very fresh. But by then, cricket had not had enough funding as what it has now. By then, there was very, 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 very good community. Like I said, the Nanjis, the Padamshis, and if you look at Swami Bapa, the Premji, like you had people who had very, 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 very huge love of sport. So I think that is what pushed the game a little bit. So it made everybody who was in the community, it was a community thing, but we ended up, because we were around that community area, we ended up playing for those clubs, and that's why I think the national team did well. Come 1996, you get called up. What was the selection process? Because then everyone really wanted to go, and you had to compete for 2 places, a top order batsman, and the second one is a wicket keeper with Tariq Iqbal. I think the selection then was very. I would say it was very fair, because if you look at if I look at my records and get my records right, I'd finished the second highest run getter, and I was also a young person coming up, and I'll not forget the late Adilal Shah, who those are people who I thought loved sport and would judge people fairly. What I think the selection panel should be based on something which is quite hard at the moment. Our league is quite weak. The young boys who are coming up, we don't have a good numbers to compete. So I think the selection then panel, the selection group was very fair, and the generation which was there was then really wanted the young boys to come up, and they saw a lot of potential in me, and I really appreciate that potential. That's what had made me to what I am today. Let's not, what was that build-up period, 94 into 96, going into 96 for the Cricket World Cup, the opportunities that you got to play against some of these top-tier teams? How did they change their way? You people, you had Steve Tikolo, Maurice Odumbe was a captain, you had Tariq Iqbal, you had Doc Chudasama inside, Asif was still in that team. What were you doing? I think what the big difference was very simple. It's not simple as such, but I thought for me it was very simple. South African teams toured here in Kenya. All the most of the provincial teams in South Africa came to Kenya as their pre-season. We produced India top players played in the Kenya League. Sanjay Manjreka, Sandeep Patil, the coach who ended up coaching India. What is this guy? Ravi Shastri. So we had a huge competitive cricketers from India and Pakistan, who are fighting to play for the Indian national team when they're playing our league. So I think it strengthened it, and it made it very, very, very competitive. And because you had a lot of teams which would come from South Africa for a pre-season here, so I think the preparation, that's why it built up the preparation, and the preparation was very good. The only thing I think which didn't happen by then we all made the game still stuck in Nairobi, and that was the big challenge. So by then, I think the game would have moved, because I think the game was very strong in Mombasa, and the game was a little bit stronger in Nakuru. But I think it didn't pick up as what we would have thought at 99.
Well, we'll be talking about, taking it down to the grassroots. But you get to 1996, play against India. They have won the little master, Sachin Tendulkar. There was Sourav Ganguly in that side. Anil Kumble could make the ball turn in any direction. What was the whole team feeling when you went up against these big names?
I think the most interesting thing I would say was it's quite interesting. We were really not focused, on the names. We wanted to prove a point that we can play, and that generation of ours, myself, Maurice, Steve, Thomas, there was a generation which we thought cricket was a good pathway for us to go ahead, to make a difference in your life, because we thought that if you would perform well on that area, you'd go further.
You played against Australia in that Cricket World Cup, and when we KBC broadcast that World Cup, I think I do remember, and you scored 85 runs against Australia that had the War brothers in it. Just what was the impact of that scoreline overall to the team, and the reaction that the Australians got from this side that nobody really wanted to bother about?
I think I remember very, very clearly. Shane Warne, after the game, we came to the changing room and he said, we appreciate, we look at you guys and you appreciate how good you guys are, and you guys are playing your cricket, and you're not scared of anybody, and that's the word from a very, 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 very great cricketer. So if you ask me, by then I think for us, especially myself, I'd said my generation was, most of us wanted to play overseas, and my dream was to play in Australia, because by then they were the best in the world, and we believe everybody was talking about, if you play in Australia, then you played your cricket. But I think the hard work that I put in, I ended up playing in Australia, and I think that's one of the best places you can ever play cricket.
We'll be coming to Australia, but I think it was also at that moment that Kenya made headlines globally for beating the West Indies, who had arguably the best batsman in the world at that time, Brian Lara. What was the reaction of the team? I always look at the pictures of Tariq behind and how he was celebrating it. Quite interesting. But eventually, what did it leave for Kenyan cricket?
Oh, it did. We had a huge mark, and that, I think by then, that's when now other nations realized that we can play, because by then West Indies were the world champions. By then, them and Australia were the top boys by then. But if you look at the both games that we played, we were competing. We competed. We lost one, but very close. But we won against West Indies, and that's when I told you. That's when I said it earlier. That's when you realize that we can compete, and we are very good at that particular time. But everybody was saying that they are not more exposed. We didn't have more exposure. So I think, if we could have got more exposure, by then it could have been different.
But there's one thing that I've missed out. Your world record in 1997 with Doc Chudasama, 225 runs for a first wicket stand. That is the first two batsmen in a team, 225 runs, and you scored 144 against Bangladesh.
Yes.
What's it like being, the one Kenyan who's been on the world record books?
It's quite amazing. By then, I think the performance of the team was very, very important. Yes, you want to do well as an individual, and Deepak was a very good friend of mine, and we've always remained very good friends till today. And to have a world record with him was quite something which I think I can't describe, but I think it was destiny, and God had put it on that particular time.
Come 2003, and suddenly Kenyans started learning cricket by force.
Yes.
And this is at the World Cup when Kenya was one of the co-hosts. New Zealand failed to come, but Sri Lanka came and played here. And in the 2003 squad, your two brothers had been included, your two younger brothers, David and Collins. but the one who had an impact was a then 18-year-old Collins with 5 wickets against Sri Lanka, and he was named man of the match at the Nairobi Gymkhana. What was it like for the family and for you?
I think for Collins, we could see it coming, to be very honest. We started with him in Sri Lanka from 2000, and the Graf and Maurice Odumbe, who was then the captain, said this boy has got a lot of potential. Yeah, and Sandeep Patel kept on saying that I think he will do.
Sandeep Patel was the national team coach.
Was the national team coach, and I could see it coming because the progress he was making and the way he bowled in Sri Lanka before the World Cup and the conditions in Kenya, yeah, and in Zimbabwe are going to take the wickets are going to hold a little bit.
And so there was a decline for Kenyan cricket after that. The last time Kenya was at a World Cup was in 2011 in India. What gap came up at that point, in your opinion? Because I think you retired at that point and went to Australia. We'll talk about it. But what was the cause of the decline?
I think the decline is the big challenge that we're having now is, and I'll just talk through the experience, and that's why the academy was formed. We think there is a lot of distractions in the city, yeah, and that's why we really feel that the game should go to the counties. And what we all must accept at the moment is, yeah, the numbers have gone down and it's not competitive. And the challenge that we're having now, the young generation at the moment are not what was there before. Yeah, so you must look for a way, yeah, of trying to accommodate the young boys with all these things which is going around, the phones, the internet, the PS, you name it, and it's quite a big challenge.
You set up with your brothers, including one who's little known, Charles, the coach, and set up this Obuya Academy. What has been the experience of setting up a cricket academy and reaching out to people so that they can pick up the sport?
I think for me, my dream was to have something like, I know what cricket has done for me, especially for me personally, and for us as a family. So we thought that, how do I give back? How do I look for a kid who is coming from Kangemi, who is coming from Madare, the kid who cannot afford? Where is the center that he can go to? And that is how the Obuya Cricket Academy came up. So that's why we formed it, so that it can accommodate, yeah, the boys who cannot afford to come and get a chance to train. And you're very lucky, to be very honest, because we are the only academy which have the very, very, very rich, yeah, and the very poor. And the most interesting thing, that once the kids go in the ground, yeah, you can't tell who is poor and who is rich.
What are some of the success stories you can tell from the Obuya Cricket Academy?
I think one of the success stories, we've got a boy called Jared, who is now playing for Kenya. We've got Steve Odhiambo, who is, they're both knocking doors for Kenya. And for me, it's not a cricketers per se, that if you're successful in cricket, is how many boys have we educated through cricket.
Now we've got some of the equipment here, things that you used to deal with. We've got the red ball,
yes,
and we've got this yellow ball and the bats. As we close, demystify the cost of participation in cricket.
I think there's this so-called myth that it's a quite expensive sport. I think a softball, even a tennis ball can do. Yeah, it's not that expensive. Yeah. It's a let's say if we spend 2,000 on this, but it should last me, yeah, for more than 2 years. So this is a softball, and this is a plastic bat,
yes,
which I think they can be manufactured here. But the most important thing that we better talk about is the bat, yeah, is the wooden one.
This willow.
Yes, the wooden one. I'm very sorry to say, at ukienda hapo Machakos, Kambas can make this thing.
People, anybody who's good at woodwork.
At woodwork can definitely do this thing.
What's the wood required to make this?
I think they normally say it's a special thing. It's like when the athlete starts running, they start running barefoot. Yeah. Then all of a sudden somebody tells you that these shoes can make you run faster. It's not the shoes, it's
the training fast.
It's a training fast that makes you. So I think the cost of the equipment is not expensive, and that is why we are really telling Waziri, yeah, he's done a good job so far. He's moved now the politics party has moved it to the next level, which is going to be spread the game to the counties. Yeah, once the election has been done. So now I think it's a good. We have about 50 million Kenyans. Yeah, we are not asking 50 million Kenyans to play. All we are asking for is only 10% or 5% of Kenyans to play, and with people from Kisumu, my home village, who can throw the stone very well. If I combine from a Masai who are tall and can bowl very well, and if I look at talent, if I go to Central, people who have got very good hand-eye coordination. If I go to Kakamega, people are naturally athletes. If you combine that effort together, I think we'll produce excellent cricketers.
Thank you very much, Kennedy Otieno Obuya. He has played for Kenya at 3 World Cups, represented Kenya at the 1998 Commonwealth Games, and he has played in a World Cup semi-final in 2003. They lost to India, which was inspired by Sourav Ganguly, who had 100 in that game. But most importantly, he's now giving back to society through the Obuya Cricket Academy, not just training cricketers, but helping young people get an education, the same way cricket pushed him through secondary school. Thank you very much, Kennedy, for being with us on the Legends edition. My name is Daniel Wahome.
An interesting conversation with Kennedy Obuya, cricket legend in Kenya. We appreciate you. A family in Nairobi County is seeking financial assistance to enable their 6-month-old daughter undergo heart surgery in India. The family of Monica Nyagondo say the baby was diagnosed with complex congenital heart disease. The family requires 2.5 million shillings to have the condition corrected.
According to Monica Nyogondo, baby Blessing's mother, her daughter has had the heart condition since birth.
Alikuwa anafungana since the day one, but walikuwa wanamtreat walikuwa wanasema ni pneumonia. Yaani amekuwa hospitali since birth. Amekuwa anaenda anakaa kwa nyumba siku mbili anarudi, anakaa kwa nyumba siku mbili anarudi. But alipigwa picha ya moyo inaitwa echo, alipigwa akiwa na 4 months. Ndio ilijulikana shida yake.
Nyogondo says she sought medical attention for her daughter immediately after birth when she noticed her baby had trouble breathing.
Huyo mtoi hawezi achia mtu, hawezi enda job. Unaishi nyumba ya kukondesha, yani you are just there 24/7.
The 6-month-old baby Blessing has been admitted at Kenyatta National Hospital since birth as she needs oxygen support to help pump her blood through her body. The open heart surgery cannot be done in Kenya because the hospitals are not equipped for the major surgery and is urgently required to travel to India.
Anafaa out of the country anytime pesa kitosha. We did 2.5, 1.5 for 15 days. After 15 days, 1.5 ndio inasimamia. After 15 days, you pay 100,000 Kenyan's money per day. Sasa, haujui utakaa for how long? You don't know after operation atapikaje. So in total, we need 2.5.
Blessing's mother is now calling on well wishers to help her in raising the 2.5 million shillings needed to facilitate her treatment in India. To support the family, you can send funds through the M-Pesa pay bill number 80435993 under the account number Blessing, or through Monica's phone number 0705668504 to help save her daughter's life. Stephanie Akiri for the Legends edition.
Well, we pray that many people will come to her aid. We take a break again, and when we come back, of course, the legend sport anchor Topi Liambela will be taking us through the sports of this weekend.
Good evening, and once again, it's a big welcome to the sports edition in the Legends edition this Saturday night. As usual, we have for you a Bamba entry, and in the highlights tonight, we have got Dubai 7th end as Kenya finishes in 6th position, and the National Olympic Committee elections set for next week, while locally we have got a feature tonight on the E10 as a cradle of athletics, and the internationally Chelsea hit during a London derby. Now, National Rugby Sevens team finished 6th in the just concluded Dubai Sevens after losing 10-5 to Great Britain in the 5th place final match played today. The team coached by Innocent Simiyu was relegated to classification matches after losing their Cup quarter-final match 31-19 to South Africa. They went on to beat United States 21-0 in the 5th place semis. The Kenyan team sneaked into the Cup quarter-finals as the best third-placed finisher. The third leg of the HSBC World Rugby Series will be held in Malaga, Spain between 21st and 23rd of next month. Back to the report.
For Kenya here in the Cup quarter-final in Dubai. Said they had to score, had to get something, because it's been all the champions so far, and they will get something. Maruma. Keep the ball, isn't it? And don't give them any sort of chance to turn the ball over at all. Victorious. Swappy, the captain, streaking down that left-hand side, stops sensibly, of course. There's men on the right-hand side. One long pass, Ippy Vista, Davids, St. Davids, try number 1 for last week.
Not a very good show there, but anyway, our boys are still on track for better results. Now, Kenyan side Cereals men's handball team narrowly missed out on the East and Central Africa handball men's title after losing to Rwanda Police by 1 goal in the final played today in Tanzania. After Kenyan champions Nairobi Water won the ladies' title yesterday, Cereals men were looking to make it a double for Kenya, but lost the final 28-27 goals to Rwanda Police, who won the title for the second year in a row. The two sides scored goal for goal, but the champions managed to edge Cereals 17-16 at the halftime time. They maintained the 1-goal margin throughout the second half, eventually defending the title they won back in 2019. The Eastern Central Africa Handball Tournament was not held last year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Kenyan teams will return home tomorrow from Dar es Salaam. With the National Olympic Committee of Kenya elections set for Thursday next week, campaigns for the 11 vacant executive positions has intensified. The president and 2 representatives serve a second term for attracting no opposition. The elections will be presided over by the Center for Corporate Governance, with elected officials set to serve for a period of 4 years.
The most contested position in this year's elections are the 3 executive members, which has attracted 7 candidates. Athletics Kenya executive member Barnaba Korir has been nominated by his federation to vie for one of the 3 NOC executive positions in next week's election. Korir, who is also the director for youth development at AK, believes the federation deserves an inclusion in the executive board of NOC, since it has been consistent not only in producing the highest number of athletes, but also medalists in all Olympic and the Commonwealth Games to date.
It is long overdue that the representation of Athletics Kenya should have been there, because we have the major stakeholders. You look at most of the competitions that take place, especially the Olympics and Commonwealth, the bulk of the Kenyan teams comes from athletics, and we have a stake in the National Olympic Committee.
The Athletics Kenya Nairobi chairman exudes confidence ahead of the election after serving as the general manager for Team Kenya in Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games.
Election is like competition, and sometimes you contest and you lose, and you wait for another day. You contest, you win. Of course, you have taken the gold medal. So we want to look at the elections as part of administration of sports, and it should not be looked at as if it is a life and death issue. We just go there, we contest. If we are lucky and convinced to vote for us, that is fine. If we are not lucky, we support those who have already won, and that is exactly what we are thinking. And that's how I see things, is that we have to go there. I'm contesting, not just go there as a member. I want to see if we can keep something.
Korir will face off against Paul Otula from Kenya Basketball Federation, Charles Osoro of Kenya Cycling Federation, Benjamin Moses from Kenya Boxing Federation, Suleiman Sumber of Kenya Taekwondo Federation. Other positions which have attracted large candidature include the first Deputy President, the Secretary General, and the Deputy Secretary General, with each having 3 contestants.
Best of luck to those who are vying for positions in the coming elections. Now, on soccer, Gor Mahia and Tuskers' fate in the CAF Confederation Cup will be decided tomorrow, with 2 crucial ties against AS Otoho Dioyo of Republic of Congo and CS Sfaxien of Tunisia in the group stage playoffs. Gor Mahia lost 1-0 in the first leg, while Tusker played to a goalless draw earlier on. Backs with the details.
Fate of 2 Kenyan giants, Gor Mahia and Tusker, hangs in the balance, since they have to record impressive results to make it to the lucrative group stage of the CAF Confederations Cup. After going down 1-0 to AS Oto at the Alphonse Masemba Dibat Stadium in Brazzaville, Kogalo would be looking to exact revenge on their opponents at Nyayo National Stadium. Oto's contingent of 47 arrived in the country on Saturday morning. With CAF having allowed Gor to admit at most 10,000 fans, Gor Mahia coach Mark Harrison has called on the club faithful to turn out in large numbers, since they need the 12th man to get the crucial win. If Gor eliminates AS Oto Dioyo, they'll reach the group stage for the first time after 2 years hiatus. Tusker clash with the 2-time CAF Confederation Cup holder CS Sfaxien behind closed doors due to COVID-19 restrictions in Tunisia. The 2 sides played out a barren draw last weekend at the Nyayo National Stadium. Tusker coach Robert Matano faces an uphill task to eliminate CS Sfaxien. The Brewers need a win or a scoring draw at the Tayyip Miri Stadium to advance to the group stage of the competition.
AFC Leopards' struggles continued after going down 1-0 to Bidco United at the Thika County Stadium in one of the 4 Kenya Premier League matches played today. Talanta, Wazito and Kakamega Homeboys recorded wins in their respective matches played today. Bax was on the grounds to give us this report. Iten in Elgeyo Marakwet County is regarded as the cradle of athletics and a powerhouse, having produced the sparkling and top-notch world champions who have put Kenya onto the glory on the global map. But have you ever asked yourself why it is the home of the champions? Well, worry not. Our reporter Frederick Mwoki caught up with the founder of the Iten training camp and filed the following story. Let's take a listen.
Under the crack of dawn, hundreds of athletes drawn from Iten, Elgeyo Marakwet County beat the horrendous weather and hit the roads for morning jogs under supervision of top-notch coaches. It is regarded as the home of champions. Yes, champions. Iten training camp in Elgeyo Marakwet County was established in 2005 with an aim of providing expert coaching and a supportive group environment for runners of all levels.
Kuna ladies nimeemploy kama pacemakers yenye huwa na drive the ladies huwa they stay in front na alafu ladies wanafuata. That is why they perform. Na huwa na employ. Mimi niko na 4 pacemakers na I pay all of them. So I have categories. Niko na watu ya jikoni, niko na physiotherapy, niko na pacemakers, niko na coaches.
Sisi tunaamkanga 5:30. Tunaenda mazoezi yetu mpaka 6:20. Baada ya hiyo tunakuja tuna relax, tunakunywa chai na tuna relax. After hapo mazoezi yetu tena ya saa 10.
Tangu nimekuja Iten, experience iko sawa na nimeona nimechange. Si kama venye nilikuwa nyumbani.
Since its inception, the camp has produced world-class athletes including world champions Florence Jebet, who won 2009 World Cross Country Championships and the 2010 World Half Marathon Championship, 800 meters world record holder David Rudisha, 2021 New York City Marathon champion Peres Jepchirchir, 2021 Istanbul Half Marathon champion Kibiwot Kandie, and 3-time winner of Berlin Marathon Gladys Cherono, among others.
Last year niliongea na watu kutoka Printain wakuja watengeneze School of Excellence ile tuwe na lessons ya kutrain wakimbiaji na kufundisha hawa how to stay, how to invest. So Iten is a growing count or in Iten as large is a growing county in athletics. Ni ile tu bado ni ichakuwa so expensive na watu ni wengi na most of the athletes are not well exposure. Wawana ile exposure yenye kuji-explain ama kufanya nini. That's why niliongea na watu ya Britain watajenga an excellence school here in Iten.
So, what makes Iten the home of champions?
Hii ni historical na tena ni high altitude tena hapa. Ukitrain hapo na uende low altitude, performance inakuwa extreme, very excellent. That is why imechaguliwa kama home of champions. Na hapo the roads are very good. Hakuna pollution, hakuna disturbance, watu ni friendly. And then the life is not so expensive. Na all food ni fresh. Na iko karibu 2,500 above the sea levels. So lungs inakuwa very good na the hair is not totally cold na not totally warm. That is why inafanya wakimbiaji wa train vizuri.
The future of Iten is to continue producing top-cream athletes who will continue putting Kenya into glory when it comes to major international championships. Reporting for Legends Edition from Iten, Elgeyo Marakwet County, my name is Frederick Mwoki.
A point to note also is that, many world champions and Olympic stars have trained at Iten, including the likes of Mo Farah of Britain. So that is really a good run. Now, over to the international scene. Arthur Masuaku scored a bizarre late winner as the top four hopefuls. West Ham twice came from behind to beat English Premier League leaders Chelsea 3-2 in a pulsating encounter at the London Stadium. The win consolidated West Ham's place in the top four. Liverpool defeated Wolves 1-0. Southampton drew 1-1 with Brighton, while Burnley lost 1-0 to Newcastle. Here is a review.
Last year or so, and today should in just a tick.
Well, the atmosphere is intense, the rivalry. Thiago Silva puts it in the back of the net. Clever header again from him. We've seen it often enough. Chelsea have their breakthrough. It's 1-1. Brilliant penalty from Lanzini. Crossfield ball from him and a brilliant goal by Mason Mount. That is one of the goals of the season. Talk about technique. Just a wondrous volley. Got there first. So far making a nuisance of himself. And what a goal that is from Jared Bowen. Instant hit into the corner. And West Ham United are level. And that is another super strike. That's what. West Ham are 3.5 minutes away from a steal.
Quite a pulsating derby it was, and still up in London, Manchester United interim manager Ralf Rangnick is likely to be without Rafael Varane, Paul Pogba and Edson Cavani for his first match in charge against Crystal Palace at Old Trafford tomorrow. Left-back Luke Shaw remains doubtful as he continues to recover from head injury. Crystal Palace defender Joel Ward is suspended as a result of receiving his 5th booking of the season in the midweek. That match and other fixtures in Europe are captured in our sports diary tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we had for you on the Legends Edition Sports segment, and we hope that you have enjoyed your weekend or what is left of it. And remember, the coming week is just 2 days away. Now, without any hop up, it's over now to Catherine Kasavuli to wind up the show tonight.
Thank you very much, Topi Liambila. It's been a wonderful sporting day today. Of course, all that news coverage and definitely the interview with Ken Obuya. It's also been a very sad day. At the beginning of the news bulletin, we had a news item about a bus that plunged into a river, killing 23 people, at least confirmed 23 people, and 12 people seriously injured. Efforts are still underway to pull the bus out of the river, and we just pray that more people will be found alive, even if they're injured, but at least, they'll be alive to heal. And we are praying for the families who have lost their loved ones. May God give them courage and, of course, strength at this time. of need at this trying time. My name is Kasavuli. Our sign language interpreter has been Byron Aburi, and of course Topi Liambila has been with us throughout the sporting news coverage. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful week ahead.
KDIC, protecting your deposits.
It's his will, but it is not mine. He has the strength of a god. I saw it with my own eyes. He is not a god!
Samson, the Philistines are upon you.
My strength is now your strength. What would you have me do? My name is Samson, and you will face the wrath of God.
My name is Muhammad Ahmed Muhammad, the CEO of Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation, popularly known as KDIC. The corporation recently increased the protected sum from the previous 100,000 shillings to 500,000 shillings per account. This is the highest in sub-Saharan Africa. In effect, the corporation now covers 99% of the depositors in the unlikely event of a closure of a bank. So KDIC encourages the depositors to continue doing business with our banks that are strong and resilient.
Be sure, check out for a KDIC sticker in your banking hall. KDIC, protecting your deposits.